Hello and welcome to Anime Animosity. And it's time to review the anime of the season that came out, was for me, last week, or nearly 2 weeks ago by the time this video will be going up. The week of the 28th, for those of you wondering. So, the first week of the most recent, of the spring season. Spring? Fuck. Summer season. Jesus Christ. I'm not doing a third take, I'm just gonna roll with it. So, a couple of shows had their first episode, or first two episodes in the case of Scarlet Nexus, within that time frame. So, I'll be talking about those episodes. Well then, let's start with the aforementioned Scarlet Nexus. Now, it had two episodes within the time frame, but they actually came out a bit before and premiered on the Funimation YouTube channel, but nonetheless, I'm including them now. So, the first two episodes, very plain and simple. They just cover the story of the game up until a certain point before a cliffhanger, of which, having played the game, I know where that goes. I won't spoil it in case you don't, or haven't seen anything about it. And while they do follow the events of the story, they are ever so slightly different, happening in slightly different places, with maybe a few different characters around. That's really the only difference. All in all, it seems to be following the game story, and I assume it will do that the whole way through. And given that, I have already put my thoughts into a video on what I think about watching anime based on games. If you can play it, play it. Yeah. The only one thing I am worried about with the Scarlet Nexus anime is that the pacing seems a touch fast. But maybe that's just me. We'll have to find out as the episodes go on. Okay, the next show we have to talk about is Peach Boy Riverside. Now, this is a show that I don't really have too high expectations for, but we'll see how it goes. So, it's based on Momotaro, but with a twist in the fact that there's more than one Momotaro, or Peach, from the story Momotaro, where there was a Peach and out came a kid and then he killed some demons. That's just a little bit of an abridging of it, but yeah. So the first episode is alright. It's pretty hard to judge where the story will go and how good the writing will be based entirely off this first episode, but I did enjoy it. There were some odd bits of just ecchi thrown in there, which caught me off guard, but hey, I ain't complaining. I'm a straight man. But yeah, our main character, or who I believe to be our main character, I can't remember her name. Fuck, I should have written it down. But she's just a bit crazy when the whole Momotaro thing happens with her right eye, when she gets a peach in it and goes sicko mode. And on top of that, we also get a little bit of understanding of the world from that first episode, like how Arjin, or demi-humans, are discriminated against because they're viewed as being savage beasts. So there's definitely been some baseline world building, like how we've been introduced to Oni, horned demons that are more powerful, and then presumably even stronger ones of those, as we see toward the end of the first episode with the big fucking walrus dude and the thick as fuck but turns into a lolly chick. Yeah. So yeah. As far as things stand, don't have much to say on this yet. I've not got enough to go off of to give a full-fledged opinion on Momotaro or Peach Boy Riverside. Okay, next we'll move on to Vanitas no Carte. So, first of all, the art style, pretty good. I really like the animation. The art style at least. And, Swindler or Vanitas, ooh, he has got some nice eyes. Oh boy. I'm a straight guy, but, ooh, he's beachy as fuck. And to be fair, so is the other guy. What was his name again? I had it written down somewhere. This is professional. Noe. There we are. I remembered his name. But yeah. So if you didn't know, Vanitas no Carte is a vampire story. And it's also done by the same author as Pandora Hearts, which is an anime that's alright, and I'm planning to read the manga of it because of the anime going off on one and being anime original. But we're not here to talk about Pandora Hearts, we're here to talk about Vanitas no Carte. I do really like the camera work. One thing that I did notice is the camera work is very well done. The direction's quite nice. And same with the sound design. It's being directed quite well. Although, when it comes to the animation, it is for the most part very good. But there are a few, stiffer and awkwarder bits that I noticed while watching. Yeah. So, but those are some serious nitpicks. The premise is quite interesting, and Vanitas, the blue-eyed vampire, born under a blue moon instead of a blood moon, and he's got this book, and it can manipulate the true names of vampires. And yeah, I think that, I mean, it's not a whole lot to go off of, but it seems like we'll be going around and trying to figure out the mystery of the illness that causes vampires' true names to be fucked around with, and that seems to be where it will go so far. What I did like is that the first episode ends with foreshadowing to the end of the series, and also, well, after the post-credits, it then gives us a bit of insight as to what's going to happen in the next episode. Did quite enjoy that, with the fact that the series will probably end, or close to its end. Noe will kill Vanitas. It's literally said that Noe kills him by Noe himself in, talking about the past. And also, next episode will most likely be them running from the police. And I believe that what's probably going to happen is Noe will fall to this illness and Vanitas will cure him, and that is why he will help Vanitas with what he's doing. Now, I did mention that the animation quality was sometimes a bit not subpar, but like dropped in quality, and that's a minor nitpick. The only thing I do actually kind of dislike is the implementation of comedy. It kind of fell flat a little bit, but that's probably just me being, well, comedy is subjective, so, but for me, I didn't the comedy felt a bit off in its implementation, but although I do actually quite like the first episode, it was a lot of fun, so yeah, I'll look forward to what's coming out next week, or, well, a couple days from now, I guess. Okay, next up, we have an interesting one. The one I actually made the most notes on, I think, in Kanojo mo Kanojo, or Girlfriend, if you want to go by the English title. And the first thing that caught my eye is the red-haired girl has been given the nickname Saki Saki, which immediately gives me Origairu vibes. Don't do that, because you are nothing like Origairu. Do not steal Saki Saki's name. How dare you? But beside the point, the main character seems like a bit of a dumb fuck who can't read a room or understand sarcasm. Yeah, but it does lead into some very, very convenient exposition about the main character's relationship with Saki and how he's liked her since fucking middle school or whatever. Elementary school? Yeah, first grade of elementary school. Jesus Christ. And then some time passes on the roof waiting for his girlfriend to finish, and then girl number 2 confesses. Nagisa. And, yeah. And that cuts straight into the opening. As for an opening, it's an opening and there's lots of triangles. That's all I have to say on the matter. There's also a Fibonacci sequence in it twice, like the golden ratio, which is quite strange. But yeah. So one thing that really fucking weirded me out is Nagisa's eyes in some of the close-up shots of her really creeped me out. Like, oh my god, they were so weird. There's some nitpicks on the animation. And this chick, Nagisa, is clearly a bit mentally deranged with how unbelievably prepared she was to ask this guy out. Like, Jesus Christ, I know you want to succeed, but fucking hell. There's taking measures, and then there's fucking having an entire battle plan. Now, the main character is, for some reason, conflicted in this situation of this girl he has just met and spoken to for the first time, and his girlfriend as to who he should date. Why are you conflicted? The choice should be obvious. You should not be a piece of shit. But, he, decides that, you know what? How about I just date them both? Just casual bit of polygamy, Nothing wrong with that. Well, there is to an extent, but it's how that is. And Nagisa is understandably confused at his suggestion, but goes along with it anyway. So they go to talk to his girlfriend about, him wanting to cheat and have 2 girlfriends. Now, it is kind of scummy, in all fairness. But, you know what? Fair play to the man. He's being honest. Honest and upfront. If there's any way to go about it, it'd be to not do this at all. But if you're going to do it, at least be honest about it. And so Saki punches him in the face. Because he seems to believe that he has no choice but to 2-time. Oh boy. Yeah, the MC's a bit of a bit of a fucking tool. But hey, at least Saki is, a functional, well, I say functional human being. She's, all there in the head, at least for the most part. And that she's not okay with her boyfriend cheating on her in front of her with her consent. Very, very peculiar. And the sound design for this scene, of the whole argument of him trying to convince Saki to let him have two girlfriends, is really, really strange. Like, it's this, like, really, like, epic feelings theme for an argument that could tear apart his relationship. Like, it doesn't fit. It's very strange. And somehow, I don't quite understand how in the ever-loving fuck, but this escalates to all three of them living together. But, what? Oh, okay. But, you know what? This does give the cultured man that is our main character the perfect excuse to want threesomes. And he openly says he will never, and I mean never, give up on that prospect. Fair play to the man. He knows what's good. Yeah. The end of the song was actually better than the OP. I quite enjoyed the ED. And to be honest, this first episode was chaotic as fuck. It was a mess. This story is awful. But it's so bad that it's good. Really enjoyed the first episode. Can't wait for next week. All in all, though, my waifu, as of episode 1, is Saki, because she's mentally all there, albeit she's not a very functional human being. Nagis is better in that regard, but Nagis is also a little bit deranged. So is the main character. Saki is the only normal human being. So yeah, Saki is current best girl of Kanojo. Okay, next up we have Bokutachi no remake. And I don't know how, but in my seasonal rundown, I did not compare this show to real life. And I don't know why. Because it's just real life, but he actually goes back to being a teenager. Instead of taking some medication to look like one. But yeah, so the main character is just this dude. He's a regular ass guy who's used to work for a company and then tried to, go into game design. And did for a little bit, but it fell through. So he has got fuck all but experience in the field. Very little experience, and not like targeted experience. He's got an all-round skill set, but he has experience. The weird thing, he took an exam to get into an art school on a whim. I'm reading these. I have notes on my phone, and I'm reading through them as like these popped up, and I took notes on them in the show. So this is the order of events, with me cutting bits out. So he took an exam for an art school on a whim, but then just didn't choose to go there because he thought that being a regular old civil servant would be the better choice at the time, to which he now regrets. Now, what would have happened if he went to the art school? Well, cue the series and the whole time travel thing, but not quite yet. We have more to unpack before that happens. So he's walking home, he's walking home from a job interview that he didn't quite land, and he sees a girl at a bridge, looking depressed, taking off her shoes, and his immediate reaction is that, oh shit, she's going to jump. So he runs over and stops her jumping off the bridge, even though that wasn't her intention. She was just in a bad mood, and probably adjusting her shoes, because I believe they were heels, and as everyone knows, walking in heels is a ball ache. But yeah, she's pretty cute though, and she's also very, very important. So he talks to her and gets a job, because she's conveniently looking for someone with the exact varied skill set that he happens to have. Isn't that convenient? Now, one thing I do want to point out real quick right now is I really like the eyes that they use in this show. The two-tone in the eyes that blend into each other gives me hella Classroom of the Elite vibes, and I absolutely love the aesthetic of the characters in that show and light novel. So yeah, that's completely unrelated, but I wanted to point that out. Now, the main character is incredibly good at organising. Like, he's on a whole other level, which blows me away how he doesn't have a job, because he could just be a secretary. I don't know how secretaries are in Japan, but with organisation skills and the ability to use a computer like this man can, he should have a job by now. But it's probably hard to get a job, being that he quit from his previous job to go become a game designer, which then fell through. So that probably isn't helping his case. So yeah, and after about a month of working at this company, he's almost a fully fledged employee. His contract, he's getting there. Everybody at the workplace knows him and really appreciates his help. And he's a stellar employee. He's got his shit together. And then, well, because this hasn't had the time travel aspect yet, something has to go wrong, and the project that he and the team that he's been hired for are working on fails. It falls through and gets frozen. And so he's now out of a job. Now, this is where he goes home and sleeps. And wakes up 10 years ago, when he was 18, right before his choice of which college or university, if you're in the UK, he wants to go to. Well, here we go then. So yeah, he's understandably confused, as you see in a lot of these time travel shows or isekai where they end up in the past or in another world. They're understandably very confused, and it's realistic, I guess, in this unrealistic situation. Also, call that to real series like No Go No Life and Zonal Schema. Very, very cool. Very fun. And also, the music kicks in at a very nice time, as to when he chooses, that he's like, I can. He sees the date. And he realizes that he's in the past and he can refix his life. And the music kicks in. It's very nice, very well directed, this scene. I've really enjoyed it. And also, the opening. Opening's a banger, bro. The opening slaps. It's also pretty visually impressive. I mean, Studio Feel, they've got the visuals down, down pat. So good. So yeah, he's off to university, chooses the art school, obviously, given that that's now what he knows to be the better choice, or believes could have been the better choice. And he's also really health conscious, which, if this were his first time at university, he wouldn't be, because no university student is health conscious. But this was his second time, so he knows to look after his health. So yeah. Then there was there was one bit that kind of freaked me out. He goes to sleep, and then he's back in the present, but it's actually a dream sequence. I'm a bit stupid, so I didn't catch that it was a dream sequence initially. So yeah, this really threw me off, but then it makes sense because it's a dream sequence. And then he wakes up, and there's just a girl in his bed. Straight out of the scenes of one of those eroge that he worked on in the past. And it turns out that the start of this gets very, very unfortunate for him, as the other two housemates at his dorm walk in on this situation and immediately assume the worst, given that, the girl's got some yogurt on her chest. If you've seen the scene, you'll understand, and if you don't quite get why they take that in a certain way, well, you'll understand when you're older. But anyway, all the characters introduce themselves, and we're introduced to Nanako, who is almost certainly Nano, or Nana even, not Nano, that's an artist. Nana, of the Platinum generation, which is introduced. I should have mentioned they were introduced, but you might have seen the episode. But yeah, there's a Platinum generation that were the same age as him, and basically there's three of them, and Nanako is most likely Nana from the Platinum generation. Then we're introduced to Tsurayuki Rokuonji, who is also probably part of the Plat gen. And then we have Shinoaki, who is almost certainly the artist, Shinoaki, that he really admires, because she does really good art. At this point, I'm really enjoying the episode, and just, I enjoy it for the rest of it. There is a lot of coincidences that add up, but such is life, I guess. Then we're introduced to big old muscle man, absolute Chad. He's cool as fuck. And then we are introduced to a teacher, who's presumably the main lecturer, who looks a lot like the redhead girl, or the chief, Dancho, from the company he worked at in the future. I know I'm going through points really quickly, but I've tried to compress this. I'll get better at this, I promise. I promise! And yeah, so it's almost... She's probably related to Kawasegawa, which is her name, in some way, but not long after that. We are introduced to Kasabegawa 10 years in the past. And I will say this now, design-wise, she is easily my favourite. But moving on, because this isn't a harem show, they go through their uni life. And to be honest, it looks pretty accurate. But then again, it's not like I'll know until later this year, when I go to uni. Hopefully. Enough about me, though. Now, there's a couple things I want to point out. Kawasegawa. Why'd you gotta have a complicated name, man? Why'd you gotta have a complicated name? Huh? But anyway, Kawasegawa either also got sent back in time, which is most likely not the case, given how she react to seeing the main character initially, or she's just really smart and serious her entire life, or at least university life. So yeah, the Xenon plays, and the guy, what's his name? Tsurayuki gives a perfect answer when he's called out in class. Immediately after, Kawasegawa gives a perfect answer and tries to out him for being asleep in class, and he gives a perfect answer, which is what I'd expect, given that I'm almost certain he is a member of the Platinum Generation. So he's going to be incredibly talented and just know his stuff naturally. So yeah. And that's basically the whole premise. They have a party at some point in a field somewhere for Freshers Week. And yeah, it's really nice. One thing I do really like, though, is that it's made very abundantly clear that his 10 years don't really mean shit. Because, well, he didn't apply them in the field that he's now working in, well, learning in. So those 10 years of experience that would normally give a main character a huge edge over the rest of the competition, making them super smart and cool and popular and don't matter. Other than giving him social skills and life skills, those 10 years really aren't going to benefit him in his course. And I really like that, because that's how it should be. So yeah. Also the ending. The ED song? Slaps. Pretty good song as well. So yeah, all in all, this first episode was really enjoyable, really visually it was really nice. Set up the story and characters very well. All of it really seems enjoyable. I can't wait to check out the next episode that won't be 50 minutes long. Good Christ. Okay, next up we have a much worse show in Genjitsu Shugi, or Realist Hero. So the main character is a nobody who has nothing, and so when he gets transported to this other world, he won't have anything to lose. And when he does get summoned, he's summoned pretty much identically to how they are in Shield Hero. So even him getting to the other world isn't original. And also, you know, all the aristocrats in this world are fucking useless. The nation's fucked because of demons. And he was forcibly summoned so they could sell him off to another country. I don't quite understand how this kingdom hasn't already been annihilated or crumbled somehow. And, you know, the logical conclusion is to, you know, have this Japanese guy who knows nothing and you summoned here, and you just have him sort your kingdom out because he suggests that that's a better idea than selling him for money. Right, okay, yeah, believe the random kid. So yeah. And of course, you know, this guy, who just aimed to be a regular or civil servant, is fully capable of doing literally everything as soon as he's given the information he asked for, and becomes king after 3 fucking days of discussion. Which is strange, given that he's caught off guard by this, implying that the discussions didn't fucking matter because choices were made without his input. What was the point of the discussions then? Oh, and also he's being forced into a marriage. But hey, at least the princess is, you know, kind of cute. So, this could be worse. Like, I don't understand why the main character just seems to know everything. Yes, he's from the modern world, but he's still just a regular ass fucking guy. Like, what? And also, when was he taught how to read and write this language? He just does it naturally. I know there's been like a couple weeks past, but you don't learn to read and write a new language in that short amount of time. Unless it's magic from the summoning ritual, which was never stated that it does that. Then he shouldn't be able to read and write the language so perfectly. But, yeah, this story is already off to a hole-filled start. And I can't wait to see how it crashes. If it does, maybe it'll pick up. Maybe it's just the setup to the story was really hard, and it'll get better later on. But yeah, yeah, it does not look like it will go well. And finally, for this week, we have Tantei wa mo shindeiru. Well, the detective is already dead. Now, the main character, poor guy, always ended up in trouble. Has the worst luck, and he just can't say no. I mean, you know, he just seems like a bit of a pushover. Like, yes, you're probably being threatened, and you know, maybe this told you that your family is being held hostage. But if these people put you in a car, give you a random suitcase to get on a plane, you know, I'll tell you, probably conspiring for a terrorist attack and being forced into it because they held your family hostage does not make it any better. You could just put the case down and fucking run because they've driven off. They're not going to force you to get on this plane anymore. You could just not do it. But he does anyway. And that leads into him being on the plane, and there's this whole debacle of a guy who's planning to crash the plane and kill everyone on it. And there's this detective called Siesta. She's kind of cute, you know. I mean, the art for the show is fantastic. Like it's gorgeous, and the Sakuga is on point when we get into the first fight scene. Fantastic stuff. Like, no joke, incredible. Now, this show has done a few things where I'm like, oh, this could go badly, given that this is a show about a detective, or at least probably will be later on, given the detective's already dead. But I assume it will go into it having the detective be relevant again, or detectives or another detective will be relevant. But if this show does what it does now, where the quote unquote mystery or the detective, yes, an ace detective is someone that can solve a case before it's happened. That is a bit bullshit. But maybe I'm just not a detective. Well, I'm not. I definitely amn't. Fucking hell. But yeah, this quote unquote case unravels without us, the reader, being given all the information as to. Yes, we know that he's been given this case. However, we don't know that she set this up or what's in the case, and it just so happens that what's in that case conveniently allows her to finish the fight against the demi-human guy flawlessly without any problems. Like, yes, it's a stretch of, it stretches. I mean, this whole show will, because it's about demi-humans and a detective that's dead. But that's what's all about. For a show about detectives and case solving to an extent, the information you need to solve the case should be presented to the reader or the watcher in one way or another, through the Chekhov's gun method. If something's introduced, a gun is on a wall, in the first chapter, and then in the third chapter it should be fired. That type of thing. But in this, yes, we were told about the box, but we weren't told about what was in the box, and what was in the box just so happened to be perfect for getting out of the situation they were in. Yes, there has to be some level of mystery and uncertainty in this, because it's got to create tension and drama, but it does feel like a bit of a Deus Ex Machina. But it's only the first episode, so it's fine. Then we go into the second arc, which is in a school, and there's drugs. Yeah. And magic flying shoes, and a key that can unlock any door. Convenient, but hey, she's very clearly not a normal detective. Yeah. Now, one thing I do want to... I enjoyed the second arc as well. Both arcs, the one on the plane and the one on the school, very good. Very enjoyable. To the point, very concise, very compact. One thing I do want to say, though, is this first episode really... The 50... Well, it wasn't 50, it was about 48. But this double feature-length episode did feel like it was supposed to be 2 episodes, not 1. Because of, the ending bit and the about halfway mark had very similar feeling and intention. So it did feel like these were supposed to be 2 episodes instead of 1. But maybe that's just how I saw it. I did enjoy that, the final line incorporated the Tantei wa mo shindeiru. Title drop, very cool, very fun, very classic, I guess, to an extent. Buzzwords. But yeah, all in all, the first episode was enjoyable. The animation quality was really good. But let's see if it can keep up with that. And see if it can catch me off guard, because I really enjoyed it. In terms of visuals alone, I'll continue to watch it, because there's also a bit of plot to it. But yeah. And that's my take on the first week of summer 2021's anime. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed what you watched, you've been here for a while now, 28 minutes, hit that subscribe button. It's entirely free, Or maybe, if you don't feel like subbing, just hit the like button. But yeah, with all that said, I've been Animosity, you've been you, and I'll catch you all next time for another video. Ta-ta for now.